The great hunt arena was unlike anything Milo had ever seen. Towers of stone and metal rose high above the ground, surrounding a vast circular pit where creatures from hundreds of worlds were held in cages. The air smelled of alien scents, spices, smoke, and the sharp tang of blood. Roars, growls, and hisses echoed through the arena as hunters from across the galaxy brought their fiercest prey to compete in the legendary hunt trials. Every predator was dangerous, feared, and trained to kill. Milo stood at the entrance of the arena, small and thin compared to the massive alien hunters around him. He wore a simple tunic, carried a backpack, and clutched a small paper list in his hand. His brown hair fell over his eyes, and he looked around nervously but with curiosity. The aliens stared at him, some sneering, some laughing. A few even whispered, pointing at the human boy who had come unarmed and untrained. "Where is the prey?" one giant reptilian hunter bellowed. Its scales shone green under the arena lights, and its tail thumped against the stone floor. "What is this human doing here? There is no hunt in his hands." Milo just smiled. "I have what I need," he said quietly, almost to himself, glancing at the list. He knew the aliens could not understand him. To them, survival meant claws, strength, venom, or psychic powers. Milo had none of these. All he had was his mind, his courage, and a simple list of supplies he had packed from Earth. The judges of the hunt trials were perched on a high platform, observing every competitor. They were tall, pale creatures with long fingers and eyes that glowed faintly. One of them, with silver scales on its arms, raised a claw. "Begin the hunt trials," it declared in a voice that carried over the arena. Instantly, cages opened across the arena floor. Creatures of every shape and size poured out: fanged wolves with scales, flying predators with razor wings, creatures that slithered and spat venom. Roars of excitement and fear filled the arena. The alien hunters leapt forward, showing off their skill as they guided their beasts, shouted commands, and demonstrated techniques learned over lifetimes. Milo took a step forward and opened his backpack. Inside were items the predators could not have expected: a coil of rope, a small metal pan, packets of spices, a spray bottle, and some dried food. He checked the list in his hand again: rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. Everything he needed was there. He smiled to himself. He didn't need claws or venom. He just needed to think. A large predator lunged toward a nearby alien hunter, jaws snapping. The hunter shouted and swung a claw, trying to restrain it. Milo watched calmly. He saw that the predator moved in predictable patterns. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a small snack, tossing it near a rock. The creature paused, sniffed, and picked up the snack, giving Milo a chance to step closer to the cage holding the next predator. The crowd gasped. No one had expected a human to stand in the arena without fear. Many of the hunters whispered among themselves, some laughing nervously. "A child? He carries nothing. He will die in seconds," one shouted. Milo ignored them. He knew his strength was not in fighting. His strength was in observation, planning, and patience. From a distance, a giant winged predator swooped low over the arena, its talons flashing in the sunlight. Alien hunters scrambled to control it, shouting in strange languages. Milo checked his list again and nodded. "Rope first." He tied one end to a column and prepared to create a small trap. The predator dived toward a corner of the arena, and Milo used the rope to guide it gently into a pen without harm. The aliens could hardly believe their eyes. A human boy was controlling creatures with nothing but simple tools and careful timing. He did not attack, he did not harm, he did not threaten. He simply outsmarted them. Whispers turned to murmurs of disbelief. Some hunters stepped back, afraid to underestimate the child. Then a larger, more dangerous predator emerged, a massive horned creature with armored scales and jaws like steel. It charged across the arena, scattering smaller predators in its path. Alien hunters jumped aside, calling commands, swinging weapons, and trying to anticipate the monster's moves. Milo paused and checked his list. He smiled. He had just the thing. He pulled out a small metal pan and held it like a shield. The creature stopped suddenly, confused by the shiny reflection of the pan under the sun. It sniffed, stomped, and turned, moving away from the human. Milo clapped softly, and the predator followed the direction of his movement, eventually settling into a safe enclosure. The arena erupted in murmurs and gasps. The crowd could not believe what they had just seen. A human, with nothing but a grocery-like list in his mind, had controlled one of the most dangerous beasts in the galaxy without hurting it. From the judge's platform, a tall alien with glowing eyes leaned forward. "This is impossible," it muttered. "No magic, no weapon, and yet he succeeds." Milo did not care about the whispers or the disbelief. He had one goal: survive and prove that humans could face any challenge without relying on strength or fear. The next predators appeared and Milo followed his list, using every item in clever ways. Spices to distract, food to lure, rope to guide, water to calm. Each move was simple, precise, and effective. Slowly, the crowd began to quiet down, watching not with amusement or fear but with awe. Milo moved like a small shadow across the arena, always calm, always thinking, always one step ahead. At the edge of the arena, a massive alien hunter named Rhaegon observed him closely. His scales were dark blue and his eyes were sharp and cold. "This human, he is not ordinary," Rhaegon said quietly. "He carries nothing, yet the beasts obey him. We must watch him carefully." Milo, unaware of Rhaegon's gaze, checked his list again. Rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. That was all he needed. Each predator that approached was met not with fear or strength, but with patience and cleverness. He guided, distracted, and sometimes simply waited, letting the creatures follow their instincts in ways that worked in his favor. By the end of the first round, Milo had faced more predators than any alien hunter dared to approach. He had not injured a single creature. Yet each challenge had been overcome, every trap avoided, every dangerous move countered with ingenuity. The arena, once filled with roars and chaos, now hummed with a new tension. A human boy had entered their world of predators and survived. Not just survived, he had thrived. Milo smiled quietly to himself, glancing at the paper list in his hand. Every predator had brought their hunt. He had brought a grocery list. And in the great hunt arena, that list was more powerful than any claw, fang, or weapon. The judges leaned forward, their glowing eyes studying him. The alien hunters whispered, some in disbelief, some in admiration. Milo took a deep breath, ready for the next round, ready for the next challenge. The arena had never seen anything like this, and the galaxy had never seen a human move like this. The adventure had only just begun. The arena was alive with roars, hisses, and the stamping of alien feet. Predators of all shapes and sizes prowled across the arena floor. Some had scales like metal, others had fur with stripes of bright colors, and a few had wings that spanned twice the length of a human. Alien hunters shouted commands, waving staffs and claws, trying to control the beasts. The crowd erupted in cheers and gasps as the predators tested the hunters' skills. Milo stood quietly to the side, his backpack snug on his shoulders. He pulled out his list again: rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. Each item seemed ordinary, even laughable to the alien spectators. But Milo knew the truth. He had trained his mind to see opportunities where others saw danger. Each predator had habits, instincts, and weaknesses that could be used without violence. Milo just had to be clever. The first challenge approached. A huge tusk beast, armored with ridges of bone and teeth that could crush stone. It stomped toward a group of alien hunters, growling and throwing dust into the air. The hunters tried to steer it, but the creature was wild and unpredictable. Milo knelt quietly, took out a snack from his backpack and tossed it near a pile of stones. The tusk beast's nostrils flared, it sniffed the snack and with a surprised grunt, it went over to pick it up. The hunters blinked, unsure what was happening. Milo calmly picked up another snack, tossing it gently in a new direction. The creature followed him, lured without force, until it walked safely into the pen. The aliens gasped. No human had ever handled a tusk beast without weapons or magic. Milo simply smiled and checked his list again. Rope. He uncoiled it and tied it to a nearby post. Another predator, a slithering venomous serpent with glowing red eyes, hissed and lunged toward a frightened hunter. Milo tossed a small bag of spices into the air. The scent confused the serpent. It slithered back, snapping at the air. Milo gently guided it with the rope, keeping it calm and moving it toward a secure enclosure. The crowd went silent, watching this small human move among creatures that had terrified entire species for centuries. Whispers spread, he is not fighting. He is guiding them. No one uses magic or claws and yet he succeeds. Milo ignored the murmurs. His focus was on the predators, the list, and the timing. Patience was his real weapon. Next came a flying predator, a bird-like creature with talons sharp enough to pierce armor. It swooped down, eyes locked on a small alien competitor. The alien flailed and shouted, unable to control it. Milo reached into his bag, pulling out the metal pan. He held it out, reflecting the sunlight. The creature paused midair, confused by the glint, and veered to the side. Milo clapped his hands softly, stepping toward the creature, guiding it with calm movements. It followed him obediently into a pen designed for flying predators. Even Rhaegon, the dark blue-scaled alien watching from the side, frowned in disbelief. "No human should be able to do this," he muttered. "He has nothing, no strength, no poison, no psychic control, and yet the beasts obey him." Rhaegon's eyes narrowed. Milo's calm, deliberate movements unnerved him more than any attack could. A venom panther slinked out next, sleek and deadly. Its fangs dripped with poison, and its eyes glowed with intelligence. The hunters gave orders and the panther lunged and hissed, ready to strike. Milo carefully took out a small spray bottle filled with scented water. He sprayed a thin mist near the panther, not to harm it, but to calm it. The creature hesitated, sniffed the mist, and relaxed slightly. Milo then tossed a piece of dried meat near the panther, guiding it into a separate enclosure. The arena crowd gasped again. A human, using ordinary items, had controlled 4 of the most dangerous creatures in the first 10 minutes of the trial. Murmurs spread through the spectators. "Perhaps humans are cleverer than we imagined," one alien said. Others shook their heads in disbelief. Milo stayed calm, moving slowly to the next predator on the list. A tunneling monster emerged from a pit, its eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. It burrowed underground, reappearing unpredictably. Alien hunters yelled and swung their weapons trying to trap it. Milo checked his list. Rope, he decided. He tied one end to a small boulder and held the other, stretching a simple snare across one tunnel opening. The monster appeared, sniffed, and fell carefully into Milo's trap, unable to escape. Milo's heart raced, but he remained composed, guiding the creature gently into its pen. By now the spectators were silent. The alien hunters exchanged worried glances. None of their skills, experience, or tools could explain what Milo was doing. Each predator was supposed to challenge the hunter's power, their training, their strategy. Instead, a human boy used ordinary items from his backpack to outthink, distract, and guide the creatures safely. A huge horned beast charged across the arena, larger than any Milo had faced so far. Its horns could pierce walls and its roar shook the ground. Alien hunters ran in panic, trying to slow it down. Milo checked his list again. Pan, rope, snacks, spices, water. He picked up the pan and held it at an angle, reflecting sunlight directly into the creature's eyes. The beast froze, confused by the bright glare. Milo tossed the snack slowly toward a safe path, and the creature followed, guided entirely by the human's clever tricks rather than fear or violence. The crowd erupted in shouts of astonishment. Aliens had never seen a human control creatures this dangerous without weapons or magic. Milo moved with confidence, following the items on his list with precise timing. Rope restrained when needed, snacks lured, spices distracted, water calmed, and the pan reflected light to confuse. Each predator was handled without injury, each trap avoided, and each challenge turned into a small victory of cleverness over force. Rhaegon's eyes were fixed on Milo. The dark blue-scaled hunter's jaw tightened. He could not understand how the human remained calm when even the most experienced alien hunters panicked. Milo's focus was absolute. Every predator that came toward him met with calm observation, careful timing, and inventive use of everyday tools. Rhaegon began to realize that Milo's real weapon was his mind. Finally, a massive megabeast appeared, its body covered in spiked armor and glowing lines across its back. It moved with terrifying speed and strength, and the other predators scattered in fear. Alien hunters tried to control it, but it was too powerful. Milo paused, taking a deep breath. He looked at his list and his eyes lit up. He had what he needed. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a small, round snack, tossing it directly in the path of the megabeast. The creature sniffed, slowed, and followed the snack, moving carefully toward a safe enclosure. Milo guided it with calm steps, a soft voice and steady hands. The arena watched in disbelief. A human boy, carrying only items from his grocery-like list, had tamed the greatest predator in the arena without a single attack. The judges leaned forward on their platform, glowing eyes wide with astonishment. The alien hunters whispered among themselves, fearful and amazed. Milo smiled quietly, checking his list one last time. Rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. He had used every item, and each predator had been handled without harm. The arena was silent for a moment, filled with awe. Every predator had brought their hunt, their claws, fangs, and strength. Milo had brought a grocery list, and that simple list had proven more powerful than centuries of training, experience, or brute force. Milo glanced around the arena, ready for the next challenge, ready for whatever the hunt trials would throw at him. He knew the rest of the galaxy had never seen a human move like this. He checked his list one last time, smiling. The grocery list strategy was working, and the adventure had only just begun. The arena grew tense as the shadow of the next challenge stretched across the floor. Milo had handled smaller predators, creatures fierce and dangerous, but now the true test arrived. Rhaegon, the dark blue-scaled alien, stepped forward, his glowing eyes fixed on the human boy. Behind him emerged the Shadow Stalker, a creature of nightmare. Its black scales absorbed light, making it nearly invisible. Its eyes glowed faint red, and its claws could shred steel. Every hunter in the arena feared it. The crowd gasped. The Shadow Stalker had defeated some of the strongest hunters in the galaxy. No human had ever faced it. Alien hunters backed away, muttering warnings. Milo, however, checked his list calmly: rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. He adjusted his backpack and took a deep breath. The human boy had faced dangerous predators before, but this one was different. It moved silently, unpredictably, and it was stronger than any Milo had imagined. The Shadow Stalker hissed and darted from shadow to shadow, scanning for prey. Rhaegon called out commands, trying to direct the creature, but the monster ignored him. Milo stepped forward, small against the darkness, and whispered, "You're not as clever as you think." His voice carried softly but confidently. He pulled out a snack from his pack and held it up. The stalker paused, sniffing the air, and then darted closer. Milo tossed the snack toward a light patch on the arena floor. The stalker followed instinctively, attracted to the smell. It was a dangerous gamble. If the predator realized the trick too soon, Milo would have no chance. He moved slowly, deliberately, checking his list again. Rope. He tied one end of the rope to a post and held the other, creating a simple snare. If the creature lunged unpredictably, he could guide it safely. The stalker hissed, its claws scratching the ground. Red eyes glowed as it circled Milo. The human boy stood still, calm, letting the predator make the first move. Then, with a flick of his hand, Milo knocked the pan to reflect sunlight into the stalker's eyes. The creature froze for a fraction of a second, disoriented. Milo whispered softly, "Follow me," and moved toward a narrow passage he had planned for containment. The Shadow Stalker hesitated. It was clever, sensing the trap, yet it could not resist the scent of the snack. Milo led it slowly, keeping it calm and guided. The arena watched in stunned silence. Alien hunters had trained for decades, yet a single human boy controlled the deadliest predator using nothing but thought and simple tools. Rhaegon's eyes narrowed. He had underestimated the human. Every predator Milo faced had been dangerous, but this one was supposed to destroy him. And yet, Milo moved with confidence. Rope, pan, snack. Every item on his list had a purpose. The human's mind, Rhaegon realized, was faster and sharper than brute strength or fear. The stalker lunged suddenly, testing Milo's patience. The boy stepped aside, letting the predator's momentum carry it toward the rope's snare. Its claws scraped the edge, but it did not escape. Milo tossed another snack to the side, drawing its attention. Slowly, carefully, the Shadow Stalker followed him, until it reached the enclosure at the edge of the arena. Milo guided it gently inside, ensuring it could not harm itself or anyone else. A hush fell over the crowd. The stalker, a creature no one dared challenge, had been handled by a human with a simple grocery list. The arena erupted into whispers and murmurs. "How is this possible?" one alien hunter said. "No weapon, no magic, and yet he controlled it." Another shook their head. "The human is a master of strategy, not strength. He thinks differently from any of us." Milo patted the stalker's side gently. The creature sniffed the snack and lowered its glowing eyes. It was calm now, not aggressive. Milo had not fought it, not threatened it, not used force. He had outsmarted it. That was his strength. Understanding instincts, predicting behavior, and using simple items in clever ways. Rhaegon stepped closer, fury in his eyes. "Human," he said, voice low and dangerous. "You have survived until now by luck. No creature in the galaxy should obey you. Show me your skill against me." Milo looked up calmly. He knew Rhaegon's challenge was different. It was not just about controlling a predator, it was about facing a hunter who saw humans as weak. Rhaegon raised his claw, signaling the stalker to attack. The predator moved silently, stalking Milo through the arena. The boy checked his list: rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. He reached for the spices, sprinkling a trail on the ground in a curve toward a narrow chute. The stalker paused, sniffing, and instinctively followed the trail, drawn by the scent. Milo moved slowly behind it, guiding the predator with careful steps. The arena was silent. Every eye was fixed on the human boy and the Shadow Stalker. The creature lunged suddenly, its claws slashing the ground. Milo stepped aside, letting its momentum carry it forward, and swung the rope carefully to redirect its path. Step by step, snack by snack, motion by motion, Milo guided the stalker into the containment area. Finally, the predator settled, confined safely. Milo stood a few feet away, breathing steadily. The shadow stalker hissed once but did not attack. It was calm, guided not by force but by strategy. The crowd erupted into cheers and gasps. Aliens who had doubted humans' abilities now whispered in awe. Milo had outsmarted the deadliest predator in the galaxy without a single weapon. Rhaegon's eyes blazed with fury and respect. "He is different," he muttered. "His mind is sharper than any blade, stronger than any claw. This human, he is a predator of thought, not of force." Milo checked his list one last time, satisfied. Rope, pans, snacks, spices, water. Everything had worked exactly as planned. The grocery list, simple and ordinary, had become the most powerful tool in the arena. Milo stepped back and took a deep breath. His heart raced, but he remained calm. He had faced the shadow stalker, the creature that no hunter dared approach, and survived. He had not fought it, he had outsmarted it. The arena had never seen anything like it. Humans were not strong like the predators, but they could think, plan, and adapt. That was their power. The crowd whispered excitedly. Even alien hunters watched in disbelief. Milo had proven something new: strength was not always physical. Intelligence, observation, patience, and clever use of simple tools could overcome even the deadliest predator. The shadow stalker had been defeated without violence, and Milo had done it with a small backpack, a grocery-like list, and a calm mind. Rhaegon stepped back, realizing that he had underestimated the human. Milo was not lucky. He was clever, disciplined, and fearless in ways the galaxy had not expected. The shadow stalker, once feared across worlds, now sat quietly in its enclosure, guided by a human boy. Milo smiled and tucked the list back into his pocket. Rope, pans, snacks, spices, water. Every item had a purpose, every action had been precise. The predator who had once been unstoppable had been outsmarted. And Milo knew this was only the beginning. The arena still held challenges and the hunt trials were far from over. But for now, the human had proven himself. A small, clever boy could outthink the fiercest predator in the galaxy. The crowd erupted into applause. The alien hunters whispered, Rhaegon gritted his teeth, and Milo walked calmly through the arena. Every predator had a hunt, every hunter had a strategy, but Milo had something different. A mind that could outthink any creature and a grocery list that turned ordinary items into extraordinary tools. The adventure had only just begun. The arena had quieted after Milo's astounding display. The shadow stalker sat safely in its pen, and the other predators had been guided calmly into their enclosures. The spectators and alien hunters were still in shock. They had never seen a human act with such control, such calm, and such cleverness. Some whispered fearfully, some with awe, and a few openly muttered admiration. Milo stood in the center of the arena, breathing steadily, his small hands resting on the straps of his backpack. Rhaegon, the dark blue-scaled hunter, stepped forward, his expression a mix of fury and curiosity. "Human," he said, his deep voice echoing across the arena, "you face beasts that have terrified entire galaxies. You act without fear, without weapons, and without magic. Oh, what power is this?" Milo looked at him and smiled calmly. "It's not power," he said. "It's practice. Humans survive by thinking, by planning, and by staying calm when everything around them is dangerous. Every day we face chaos and challenges. That prepares us for moments like this." The crowd murmured. The alien hunters frowned. They could not understand. On their worlds, survival meant strength, venom, or psychic skill. Yet here was a human, small and unarmed, outsmarting predators that could kill in a heartbeat. Milo continued. "On Earth we go to markets, crowded streets, and busy cities. We handle rushes, confusion, and surprises. We carry lists, plan our day, and solve problems quickly. All of that makes our minds sharp. We notice patterns, predict behavior, and stay calm under pressure." Rhaegon's glowing eyes narrowed. "You say this is learned from daily life? You are saying a human could face any predator because of grocery shopping?" Milo nodded. "It's not the groceries themselves but the thinking behind them. Planning, timing, observation, and patience. That is what makes humans survive." Some of the alien hunters laughed nervously. "A grocery list? We fight with claws, teeth, and weapons. And this human defeats the deadliest beasts with a grocery list." Milo smiled again. "Exactly. You see strength, but humans see opportunity. You see danger, we see patterns. That is why I can stay calm while your creatures panic." The judges leaned forward, glowing eyes fixed on Milo. "Explain further, child," one said. "How does a human calm a creature that ignores even the most skilled hunters?" Milo knelt near the pen of a smaller predator and whispered softly. The creature lifted its head, sniffing the air. Milo sprinkled a few crumbs and it followed the scent, moving slowly and calmly. "Observe," Milo said. "Every creature has instincts. Humans study instincts daily, whether in animals, people, or situations. We predict behavior and act accordingly. Calm thinking overcomes force every time." The spectators were quiet, watching Milo guide a predator with only food and gentle gestures. Some of the alien hunters shifted uncomfortably. They had relied on power, skill, and aggression their entire lives. Yet here was a small human showing them a different way. Rhaegon stepped closer to Milo, lowering his voice. "And this works on all predators?" Milo nodded, still calm. "It works because I do not fight them. I guide them, I distract them, I predict them. Strength is dangerous, but intelligence is stronger. That is the difference." The arena suddenly erupted in movement. A megabeast, larger and more chaotic than any Milo had faced so far, broke free from its pen. Its massive jaws snapped, and its tail swept across the floor, scattering smaller creatures. The hunters panicked, shouting orders and swinging weapons trying to control it. Chaos returned to the arena. Milo stood his ground, checking his list: rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. He calmly assessed the creature's movements. Unlike the others, he did not panic. He noticed patterns in its charges, pauses, and sniffing motions. He knew exactly how to act. The alien hunters ran forward recklessly, trying to overpower the megabeast with claws and energy weapons. It dodged, snapped, and roared. Some hunters were injured slightly by its tail. The spectators gasped. No one dared approach except Milo. He pulled out a snack and held it up. The megabeast paused, sniffing the air. Milo gently tossed it toward a safe zone. The creature followed cautiously, confused but drawn to the food. Milo stepped to the side, sprinkling spices along the path to keep it moving. Step by step, he guided it toward a large pen, using calm gestures, small movements, and clever timing. The arena watched in astonishment. A creature that had terrified entire species was being controlled not by weapons or strength, but by a human's calm observation and clever use of simple items. Milo's mind worked faster than the predator's instincts, predicting reactions and guiding it safely. When the megabeast finally settled into the pen, safe and calm, the crowd erupted. Some spectators shouted in disbelief. "He did it again. A human controls the most dangerous creature in the galaxy. No claw or venom, and yet he succeeds." Rhaegon stepped back, realizing the truth. Milo's calm was not luck. It was the result of years of human practice in observing, planning, and solving problems. Daily life on Earth had trained him without anyone realizing. Shopping, cooking, crowded streets, chores, emergencies, all of it built the ability to stay calm, think clearly, and act precisely under pressure. Milo turned to the judges and smiled. "Humans survive because we think, not because we fight. We adapt, observe, and plan. That is why we can handle chaos while others panic. That is why I can guide predators without harming them. It is not strength. It is understanding." The judges exchanged glances. They had relied on displays of power and aggression for centuries, yet here was proof that a human mind could surpass brute force. They leaned forward, intrigued, studying Milo as he moved gently among the predators. Even Rhaegon's expression changed. The hunter who had doubted humans realized that this boy was more than clever. He was proof that human ingenuity could outmatch strength and aggression. Milo's calm was contagious. The predators, even the wildest ones, sensed it and responded. It was not fear that controlled them, nor magic. It was understanding, patience, and composure. Milo walked slowly through the arena, observing each predator. He checked his list once more, touching each item in his backpack. Rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. Each tool had been used thoughtfully, each action calculated to guide rather than harm. The creatures followed his instructions without resistance because he understood them better than anyone else. The spectators were silent for a moment, absorbing the lesson. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy. They were small, weak in appearance, and seemingly fragile. Yet here was evidence that a human could face impossible odds, remain calm, and outsmart predators stronger, faster, and deadlier than any alien. Milo had shown that the mind was the most powerful tool in existence. Rhaegon finally spoke, his voice low and respectful. "Human, your calm is your power. You do not fight, yet you conquer. You do not threaten, yet you command. You are different." Milo nodded. It is not magic, not weapons. It is thought, observation and patience. That is all humans need to survive and succeed. The arena was filled with awe and respect. Milo had revealed a new truth to the galaxy, that strength and aggression were not the only paths to survival. Calm thinking, understanding instincts, and clever use of simple tools could overcome the deadliest predators. Humans had been underestimated, and now the galaxy was beginning to realize their true potential. The crowd erupted into applause. The hunters whispered, some in disbelief, some with admiration. Milo smiled and checked his list one last time. Rope, pans, snacks, spices, water. Every item had played its part, and every predator had been guided safely. The secret behind the human's calm had been revealed. The mind, trained by daily life and challenges, could outthink even the deadliest force in the galaxy. The arena settled into a new quiet. Milo had shown the truth. Humans were clever, patient, and adaptable. His calm had turned fear into order, chaos into strategy, and the impossible into reality. And the hunt trials were not over. The final challenges awaited, but Milo knew his strength was not in muscles or claws, it was in his mind, and that made him unstoppable. The arena was quiet now, but the tension in the air was thick. Milo had guided every predator safely into their enclosures, even the shadow stalker and the mega beast that had terrified all the alien hunters. The spectators and judges whispered among themselves, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. No human had ever faced predators this dangerous, and certainly no human had done so without weapons, magic, or brute force. Milo stood calmly in the center of the arena, adjusting the straps of his backpack and checking his list one last time. Rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. Everything had worked perfectly. Raygon, the dark blue-scaled alien, stepped forward slowly, his glowing eyes fixed on the human. "Human," he said, his voice low but strong, "you have done what no hunter in the galaxy has done. You faced every predator, every test, and every danger, and yet none of them were harmed. You did not fight, you did not threaten, yet you controlled the beast. Explain yourself." Milo looked at him calmly. "I did not fight them because I do not need to," he said. "Strength and aggression are useful, yes, but they are not the only way to survive. I used my mind, observation, and patience. I studied the predators, predicted their instincts, and guided them safely. That is what humans do. We survive by thinking, not just by fighting." The crowd was silent. Even the alien hunters who had been mocking him before now leaned forward, listening carefully. Some murmured in disbelief. "A human, stronger than fear?" one whispered. Another shook their head. "No claw or fang, and yet he conquers?" Milo smiled quietly, his small frame unshaken by the attention. A judge with silver arms and glowing eyes leaned forward. "You have shown the galaxy a new truth," it said. "Strength alone does not rule all. Intelligence, patience, and calm thinking can overcome even the deadliest creatures. You have proven that humans are not weak." Milo nodded politely. "It is not proof of strength. It is proof that humans can adapt, observe, and act wisely. That is our real power." Raygon stepped closer, his claws flexing slightly, but his eyes were now filled with respect rather than anger. "We have hunted across worlds for centuries," he said. "We have faced monsters that could crush cities. Yet you, a small human, have shown us that the mind can be stronger than claws, teeth, or magic. Your calm, your thinking, your clever use of simple tools, this is a power we did not understand." Milo checked his list again. Rope, pan, snacks, spices, water. Each item had been simple, ordinary, and unthreatening. Yet each had helped him guide the predators safely. The crowd watched as he carefully demonstrated one last trick, tossing a snack to the megabeast and showing how it could follow a path without aggression. The creature sniffed, paused, and moved obediently. The spectators gasped and cheered. The alien hunters whispered among themselves. Some of them had grown proud of their strength, their skills, their experience. But Milo had shown them a new way. A human could face predators and survive, not by brute force, but by understanding, observation, and calm action. Even the most feared creatures had followed his guidance willingly. Raygon took a deep breath and looked at Milo. "You have earned respect," he said. "Not because you defeated the predators, but because you understand them. You have shown the galaxy that humans are clever, adaptable, and strong in ways we never imagined. You have done what no alien hunter could." Milo nodded quietly. "I do not need to fight to succeed. I only need to understand." The judges rose from their platform, their glowing eyes shining brighter than before. "The hunt trials have never seen this," one said. "No human has ever faced predators with such skill. We declare Milo the winner of the hunt trials, not because he used strength, but because he understood instincts, acted wisely, and showed a new way to survive and succeed." The arena erupted in applause. Spectators cheered, some in disbelief, some in admiration. Alien hunters who had doubted Milo bowed slightly, acknowledging his skill. The creatures, calm and safe, roamed their pens without fear. Milo walked slowly through the arena, patting a few of the predators gently. His calm demeanor and careful actions had earned the respect of everyone present. Rhaegon stepped forward one last time. "Human," he said, "you have shown that we have underestimated your species for too long. Your cleverness, patience, and calm thinking make you a force to be respected. Perhaps the galaxy will see humans in a new light." Milo smiled. "That is all I hope for," he said. "Humans may be small, but we think, plan, and adapt. That is enough to face even the deadliest challenges." The crowd continued to cheer as Milo left the arena. Judges, spectators, and hunters whispered among themselves, sharing what they had witnessed. Stories would spread across worlds about the human who faced predators without fear, without weapons, and without magic, and won by cleverness and calm thinking alone. The legend of Milo and his grocery-like list would inspire awe for generations. Even Rhaegon watched him go, a rare smile on his face. He had seen strength, courage, and cleverness in many hunters, but Milo had shown something different. A mind that could outthink any predator, a calm that could guide the deadliest creatures, and a cleverness that used ordinary items in extraordinary ways. The galaxy had learned a new truth: humans were not weak. Humans were a force to be respected. Milo walked away from the arena slowly, glancing at his list one last time. Rope, pans, snacks, spices, water. It had all worked perfectly. The predators had been safe, the alien hunters impressed, and the spectators amazed. But Milo knew the real lesson was not in the list, it was in the mind behind it. Observation, planning, patience, and calm thinking could overcome even the most dangerous challenges. As he stepped out into the open air beyond the arena, the crowd continued to cheer. Aliens whispered in astonishment. Judges recorded every detail. Even the predators, now calm and safe, seemed to acknowledge Milo's unique skill. The human boy had earned respect, not through power or aggression, but through intelligence, cleverness, and understanding. Milo smiled and adjusted his backpack. The hunt trials were over, but the story of humans and their clever minds was only beginning. The galaxy would remember this day, a day when every predator brought their hunt and a human brought a grocery list, and through it proved that intelligence and calm thinking were the most powerful tools of all. With the cheers echoing behind him, Milo walked away, ready for whatever the galaxy would challenge him with next. For the first time, humans were seen not as weak or fragile, but as clever, adaptable, and worthy of respect. The new era had begun, a time when the galaxy would understand the true strength of a human mind.